Bob Duncan, and this is Fruit Trees and More, Demonstration Orchard and Nursery. We're located near the town of Sydney, just north of Victoria, on the southeast Vancouver Island. Today we're going to talk about fig varieties that are highly suited to the local climate. So the local climate is often described as a modified Mediterranean climate, which means that it has coolish, marine-influenced summers and mild given the latitude that we're at. So this climate is also similar to that found around the shores of the Salish Sea and in northwest Europe, such as the Low Countries in northern France and England. So what the varieties that I'm about to describe for you should do well in these other similar climates. So today we're going to start off with the earliest ripening white fig in my collection. So this variety, it's an Italian variety called Gentile Bianca. It is a large greenish yellow fig, 90 to 100 grams, so it's very large. It has amber flesh with purple coloration. It produces strong breba production, which is what we need in a short, cool summer climate like ours, because it's very difficult to ripen main crop figs if you don't have a long, hot growing season. So it is always best to focus on varieties that have strong breba production. And this Jontiel Bianca fig has very strong breba production. Most branches have 3 to 4 figs clustered at the tips of the previous year's growth. Now the fig will form small figs on the new growth as well, but because this is a San Pedro type of fig, the second crop will not hang on the tree unless it's been pollinated by the fig wasp. And the fig wasp does not survive in our climate, so there is no hope of getting second crop figs, even if the climate was warm enough. So I highly recommend this fig because of its productivity, its honeyed taste. It's a wonderful tasting fig, and it is very productive under our growing conditions. So right now I'm going to find a fig and we're going to cut it open so that you can see the color characteristics of the fig, and we can go from there. But before we do that, I'm actually going to show you some figs hanging on the tree, some fully ripe figs. So here you will see these figs have gone from grass green, that they would have been just a few days ago, and about 2/3 to 3/4 this size. So in other words, they go from bright green to this yellowish green color, and they almost double in size in just 2 or 3 days. And then the other characteristic that tells you that the fig is pretty much ready to ripe, they're ready to pick, is the neck goes very soft and it just hangs vertically. Instead of hanging out at an angle, right angle to the branch, it'll hang vertically. And often you get nectar dripping from the ostiole, which is this hole at the bottom of the fig. So now we're going to just find a nice fig to harvest, and we'll cut it open and taste it. At the internal characteristics of the fig and taste it. So I think this one here, it's got nice yellowish green color. It's hanging vertically. It's completely swollen. The only thing it's missing, there's no nectar dropping out, but hey, not all figs do that. So we'll just separate this. So you can see it's separated very nicely from the tree. So now we'll take it over to the chopping block and we'll cut it open. So now we're going to check out the internal characteristics of this Jontiel Bianca fig. As you can see, right in the center of the fig, it's an amber coloration. And around that core amber coloration, there's a purplish red coloration. So now we're going to taste the fig, and see what that is like. And with figs, some people peel them, but I never do. I always eat the whole fig. Oh, keep on going. Okay. Yeah, beautiful honeyed flavor. It's just like eating pure honey. Very tasty. So we have just left the backyard where our earliest white fig, Jontiel Bianca, was growing, and now we've moved into the front yard to the south side of our property. And we're now going to have a look at the earliest dark or purple fig that we have. And this is a fig called San Antonio. It is of Spanish origin. Like the Jontiel Bianca, it is exceptionally early. This is the 18th of July, 2025, and there's probably at least 20% of the crop is already fully ripe, and the rest will ripen very soon. So if we look at the branch in front of us, you can actually see all the stages of development as you approach maturity. So here is a fig that's mostly green. You can see it standing out at right angles from the branch. And then here's another fig that's getting more purple coloration and less green, and the neck of the fig is starting to go soft and is starting to droop. And then this one here is a little bit further along that developmental progression. And this fig, you could eat it if you wanted. It would be sweet, but it's going to get even better if you leave it on the tree a little longer. So this fig here, as you can see, has gone full on purple. It's not drying or shriveling on the tree quite yet, and probably would be at the stage that most people would consider ideal. However, this fig right here, the fig is actually starting to shrivel and dry right on the tree. It's losing moisture, and the sugar content is increasing day by day. So this one will be an actual sugar bomb. The sugar content will be considerably higher than even this fig, which will be plenty sweet already. So you can see the progression of development. So this fig is highly productive. It produces figs of the almost in the same league as the Desert King, which is your standard breba fig for the Pacific Northwest. So it has, in this particular case, it's got 8 figs lined up all along the last year's wood, just like a Desert King would. But one of the differences with the Desert King is it actually, because it's a common fig, it actually will ripen, and because it's very early, it will ripen some of the main crop figs. So out at the end here, there are on the new growth, on the current growth, there I can see 5 figs that are ripe, that are developing right now, and will ripen in the month of September. And this is a highly unusual characteristic for figs in our climate. You basically never ripen main crop figs. We just don't have the summer heat units to pull it off. And that's why the focus historically, traditionally, has always been on the breba crop. Well, with this fig, you've got it both. You've got a huge breba crop that ripens earlier than all the other figs. You've got a main crop that actually ripens in our climate, and basically what you've done here is you have a fig tree. It's as if you were living in Spain or Italy or Greece or California, where you ripen both crops of figs. Like if you're a Spaniard living in Valencia, you're used to getting both crops of figs. Well, here we are in Victoria, British Columbia, where you'd never guess you could pull that one off. But we're routinely pulling that off with this San Antonio fig. So now I'm going to go and pick a nice ripe fig. and we're going to go and split it open, and we're going to do the taste test. So come on back to the backyard with me, and we'll cut that fig open, and you and I will taste it together. Okay, so we have a fully ripe San Antonio fig in front of us. It's not dried on the tree yet, but it should be at the near perfect stage for eating. So we'll cut it open and have a look at the internal characteristics of it. As you can see, it has a nice amber color. There's no pinks or reds, well, just a slight hint of a little bit of pink in the middle, but not much. So would you like to try this fig with me and see what you think of it? And so this fig is weighed in at 55 grams, and let's see what it tastes like. At this stage, it has a nice honeyed flavor. When it dries out a bit more, it tastes more figgy. But at this stage, it has a nice honeyed flavor. Very pleasant, very tasty. So you try it and see what you think. I think you'll be pretty happy with it. Just a further note on the development of the main crop or the second crop figs. As you can see here, at the base of every leaf on the new growth, there is a main crop fig developing. And these figs will actually ripen in the month of September in our climate. And that is an extremely unusual feature. We just never, in our cool summers here, manage to mature main crop figs. But with this variety, because it is so early, we routinely do that. Now, just to further elaborate, it also produces a substantial breba crop, as we've just been talking about. So here's how that happens. So here's another shoot here, and you can see there's a main crop fig there, which will ripen. But you'll see at my finger here, this is what's called an embryo fig. So this fig here will remain in that stage of development. There's one there, 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 and there. So there's at least 7 or 8 breba crop figs that are going to develop next summer from these small embryo figs. So that's the genesis of 2 crops. So you've already got here in the middle of July, you've got the breba crop ripening very nicely. You've got the main crop at the base of the new growth developing nicely. And then in the more terminal or distal growth of the current growth, you've got the embryo figs at every leaf for next year's crop. So in other words, 12 months from now, where my finger is, there's going to be a big purple, fully ripe fig. And that's how you get 2 crops of figs on figs.